Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
It's great to be back.
Today, we're tackling strategy.
Oh yeah, always a fun one.
And to help us, we've got a fantastic book, Playing to Win, by A.G. Lafley and Roger Martin.
Now this is not your average business book.
Definitely not. We're talking insights from a former P&G CEO.
A leading strategist too.
And you know it's good when it's endorsed by big names, right?
Oh, absolutely. Folks like Sir Terry Leahy,
Clayton Christensen.
even Jack Welch.
So it's safe to say this book's got some serious wisdom in it.
Oh, it's packed with practical advice, not just theory.
That's what we like. So get ready to walk away with actionable takeaways.
You can use them in your work, in your life.
Okay, let's dive right in. The title, Playing to Win, sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it does.
But what's it really mean when we talk about strategy?
That's the key question. Lafley and Martin, our crystal clear strategy is about making choices.
Choices.
Yes, choices, not just like vague goals.
Or those fluffy mission statements.
Exactly. We're talking concrete decisions. So where you'll compete.
And how you're going to win. They argue it's not enough to just play the game.
You got to aim for the top spot.
Precisely.
I love that. No more participation trophies.
Absolutely.
But, it makes me think of Saturn.
Saturn.
Yeah, that GM brand with the different kind of company message. They were doing pretty well, for a while at least.
Ah, Saturn. Yeah, you hit a key point there. They had good intentions.
I thought so.
But their strategy, well, it failed. Why? Because they were playing not to lose.
Interesting.
Not playing to win. Their goal was just to exist in the small car market.
Not dominate it.
Right. Now, contrast that with Toyota, Honda, Nissan. They came in with a clear goal to win, made the tough choices, invested heavily, and look at them now.
It's amazing how a subtle difference in mindset can lead to such different outcomes. So how do we make that shift? How do we go from just playing to truly playing to win?
That's where Lafley and Martin introduced what they call the strategic choice cascade.
Ooh, the cascade.
Yes, it's a series of 5 questions.
5 key questions.
That's right. They're the foundation of a winning strategy.
Okay, I'm ready to climb this strategic staircase. Give me the first step.
All right, the first question, and it's crucial, is what is your winning aspiration?
Winning aspiration. Sounds simple enough.
It might sound simple, but it's more than just setting goals.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's about defining what true success means to you.
What drives me? What makes me tick?
Exactly. What unique value do you bring?
So it's about that burning ambition, that fire in your belly.
That's it. And it's this aspiration that'll guide every other decision you make.
From choosing where you'll compete
to how you'll win.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture. So we've got our winning aspiration locked in. What's next?
Next up is, where will you play?
Where will I play, huh?
This is all about defining your battlefield.
The battlefield. I like that.
Which markets are you targeting? What kind of customers will you serve? How will you reach them?
It's about choosing your battles, right? Not trying to be all things to all people.
Now you're getting it. And sometimes those choices are tough.
I bet they are.
It means saying no to things that seem good at first.
But might not fit your strategy.
You got it. Think about Olay.
Olay, the skincare brand.
The one and only, owned by P&G. They made a big choice to reposition themselves. They went masstige.
Masstige, I've heard that term. It's like between mass market and those fancy prestige brands, right?
Got it. Think drugstores, not department stores.
Ah, so instead of battling the luxury brands, they created their own space.
Exactly. And that meant saying no to those high-end department stores.
They focused on where they were already strong.
And that, my friend, is a reminder. Strategic choices mean saying yes and no. And sometimes no is more important.
That's deep. So what questions should I be asking myself about where I should be playing?
Think about your strengths, your resources, your ideal customer.
Am I spreading myself too thin? Or laser focused where I can truly win?
You got it.
Lots to think about there. Okay, so we've got the aspiration, the playing field. What's next in the cascade?
Now the fun part. How will you win?
How will you win? This is where it gets real.
This is where you stand out.
Differentiate yourself from the competition.
You got it. Find your unique edge. Lafley and Martin break this down into 2 main choices.
2 choices. Lay them on me.
Low cost or differentiation?
Low cost, so always the cheapest.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very sustainable.
It's not about being the cheapest, necessarily.
Okay, what is it about then?
Think of it as having a cost advantage built into your structure.
So you could undercut the competition.
You could. Or Reinvest that margin back into your business.
More flexibility, more options. I like the sound of that.
Exactly. Give me an example. Think of Mars, the candy company. Streamlined production, cost-effective ingredients.
They got a cost advantage.
They do. But they don't just slash prices. They use it to get prime shelf space in those convenience stores.
They're playing the long game, huh? Smart.
Now, flip side, differentiation. This is about offering something truly unique, valuable, something customers will pay a premium for. Think Apple, Tesla.
Not winning on price. They're winning on brand, innovation, desirability.
Exactly. You're offering something competitors can't easily copy.
Like higher quality, better design, a strong brand, or incredible customer service.
It's about building a moat around your business. Think about Olive Garden versus, say, a Michelin-starred Italian place. Both Italian, right?
Totally different vibes, though.
Their how to win is totally different because of their where to play choices. Olive Garden. Consistency, affordability, broad appeal, that fancy restaurant. Niche market, exclusive experience.
So there's no one right answer for how to win.
Depends on your goals, your context.
But got to be clear about your choice.
Absolutely. It affects every other decision.
This is making me think hard. Am I low cost, differentiator, or somewhere stuck in between?
Now you're asking the right questions. Self-awareness is the first step.
Okay, we've covered 3 questions. Aspiration, where to play, and how to win. I'm ready for the next level.
We're moving from the what to the how now. The next question, what capabilities must you have?
Capabilities.
Yep. This is where we get real about what we need to execute our strategy.
So having a great plan isn't enough.
Nope. You need the tools, the resources to make it happen.
Makes sense. It's like having a great recipe but no ingredients or oven. You're not baking anything.
Perfect analogy. In business, capabilities can be your sales team, your supply chain, even your company culture.
It's about being honest about what we're good at.
And what we need to improve or even get from someone else.
Sometimes you got to call on the experts, right?
Sometimes you do. And again, it ties back to your how to win. Low cost, you need efficiency, cost optimization, differentiation. Maybe you need to focus on product development, design, marketing.
Strategy and capabilities, they're 2 sides of the same coin.
They work together.
Okay, what's the final question in this cascade? I'm ready to reach the top.
Last but not least, and often forgotten, what management systems are required?
Management systems. Sounds kind of boring.
It might sound that way, but it's about putting the right structures in place. Processes, metrics, things that support your strategy, make sure everyone's working together toward the same goal.
So this is where we get into the nuts and bolts of actually making it happen.
Think of it like building a house. You need strong foundations, solid walls, a roof that doesn't leak.
Otherwise, your beautiful house is going to fall apart.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you. So in a business, what are these management systems?
Could be simple things like regular meetings to keep everyone on track. Or more complex, like performance tracking systems tied to your goals. P&G, they actually changed their whole strategy review process.
Really?
They used to have these formal, almost theatrical presentations.
I've been to those. They're more about performance than actual discussion.
Exactly. It was all about defending your ideas, not finding the best path forward.
Yeah, been there. More about saving face than being honest.
P&G shifted to a more open, collaborative approach. Encouraged debate, challenging assumptions.
That's a big change.
It was about creating a safe space for different perspectives, tough questions, no fear of judgment.
Sounds a lot more productive. And probably leads to better decisions.
It does. It's not just about the formal systems. It's about the culture. Open communication, constructive feedback. That's what matters.
It all comes down to people, right?
It does.
Even the best strategy is useless if people don't understand it or buy into it.
You said it. P&G gets this. They have 3 core messages.
3 messages.
Make the consumer the boss, win the consumer value equation, and win the 2 most important moments of truth.
Catchy, break those down for me. What do they actually mean in practice?
Okay, make the consumer the boss. That means putting the customer at the heart of everything you do.
It's not just lip service. It's about really understanding their needs, desires, pain points.
And using that knowledge to drive every single decision.
Okay, I like that. What about win the consumer value equation?
That means creating a bigger gap between the value you offer and the cost of delivering it than your competitors.
So providing exceptional value to the customer while also keeping the business profitable. It's a balancing act.
It is. And finally, win the 2 most important moments of truth.
Moments of truth. Sounds dramatic.
It's where the brand promise is made or broken in the customer's mind. First moment. When they first encounter the product, usually in a store.
First impressions matter.
You know it. The packaging, the placement, the message, it all counts.
And the second moment of truth.
That's when they actually use the product for the first time.
Does it live up to the hype? Does it meet or even exceed expectations?
Exactly. P&G focuses on winning both these moments to make sure they're delivering on their promises.
That's a great way to think about it. It's not just about the product, it's about the entire experience.
It all ties together. Product, packaging, message, customer service. Everything builds the perception of the brand.
Makes sense. But how did P&G make sure everyone in the company was on the same page, actually using these themes to guide their actions?
Simple but effective tool. The OGSM framework.
OGSM.
Objectives, goals, strategy, and measures.
Okay, I'm following.
Think one-page document. Outlines the key parts of the strategy. Everyone's on the same page.
Like a strategy cheat sheet.
Exactly. And they didn't just hand it out. They trained people, communicated clearly, made sure everyone, from the CEO to the newest employee, understood.
So it's not enough to just have the system, you have to invest in your people.
Make sure everyone understands the strategy and their role in it.
Create that sense of shared purpose.
Exactly.
Wow, this has been eye-opening, seeing how these simple messages can guide an entire organization. But we've talked a lot about concepts, frameworks. How do we actually put this into practice? Move from theory to action.
That's where strategy logic flow comes in.
Okay, hit me with another framework. I'm ready.
It's a structured approach to making those choices. You work through 4 main areas.
4 areas, right?
Industry analysis and segmentation.
Okay.
Customer value analysis.
You're going.
Competitive advantage analysis. And finally, capabilities analysis.
So understanding the market, the customer, the competition, and our own strengths and weaknesses.
You nailed it. And we start with industry analysis and segmentation.
Mapping out the competitive landscape.
Exactly. Who are the big players? What's shaping the industry? Who are the different customer groups within that market?
Got to figure out which segments are the most attractive.
Which ones are growing, declining, and are there any disruptors on the horizon?
It's like scouting out the battlefield before you go to war.
Exactly. You don't want to charge in blind?
No, you don't. Industry analysis check. What's next?
Next, we get into the heads of our customers.
Literally.
Not literally. This is customer value analysis. Understanding what they really value, how we can create an offer they can't refuse.
So it's about going beyond just asking them what they want.
It is. You watch their behavior, understand their context, even anticipate their needs before they do.
That's next level.
Think Apple. They're masters at this.
They seem to know what we want before we do.
It's not magic. It's understanding their aspirations, offering solutions that fit their lifestyle, their values.
So Apple's not just selling gadgets, they're selling a feeling.
Precisely. And P&G, they're another company known for their customer understanding. They invest heavily in research, use all sorts of methods to get to know their shoppers.
Data-driven and customer-obsessed.
That's the winning combination.
Okay, we've analyzed the industry, gotten to know our customers. What's next in this strategic flow?
Now we find our edge.
Yeah.
Competitive advantage analysis. What sets you apart from the rest? What's your secret sauce?
Why choose us over everyone else?
That's the question. Could be a cost advantage, a differentiation advantage, or a mix of both.
So be brutally honest about what you do best.
And how you can use it to win.
But also be real about your weaknesses.
Find ways to mitigate them. And here's a curveball. We also think about how our competitors might react.
Oh yeah, they're not just going to sit back and watch.
Will they copy us, undercut us, find a new way to compete?
It's a strategic chess match.
That's a great way to put it. Playing to win actually gives a great example.
Oh, tell me more.
It's about P&G launching their Joy Dish soap in Japan.
Joy Dish soap in Japan, interesting. What was the strategy there?
At the time, the Japanese market was dominated by 2 big players. They were selling diluted soap in huge bottles. P&G saw an opportunity.
An opportunity.
To differentiate. They introduced Joy. Concentrated dish soap, small bottle.
So smaller, more effective, more convenient.
Exactly. But they knew they had to anticipate the competition's reaction.
Makes sense. What did they do?
They modeled different scenarios, and they figured their competitors would probably launch their own concentrated formulas.
So a copycat strategy. How did P&G counter that?
They didn't try to prevent it. They actually predicted their rivals wouldn't fully abandon their old products.
So even with a new formula, they'd still be making and selling the diluted stuff.
You got it. P&G bet their competitors wouldn't commit fully to a new strategy.
They'd be spreading themselves too thin, trying to do too many things at once.
And P&G was right. Joy gained huge market share because it was clear, focused. Their competitors were hedging their bets.
Wow, so anticipating the competition's move was just as important as having a great product.
It's a big part of strategic thinking. And finally, we reach the last piece of the strategy logic flow. Capabilities analysis.
Time for some self-reflection.
Exactly. Can we actually do this? Do we have the right skills, resources, the right company culture? And if not, what do we need to build or get?
Because a brilliant strategy is useless if you can't pull it off.
Right on. It's about being honest, making the right investments.
This has been amazing. We've gone through the strategic choice cascade, the logic flow, even competitive responses. My head is spinning, but in a good way.
We've covered a lot, and I'm excited to keep going. But for now, let's take a break.
Great idea. See you all soon. Welcome back. Last time things got pretty intense, we dug deep into Playing to Win by A.G. Lafley and Roger Martin.
Yeah, we did.
We unpacked that strategic choice cascade. We learned how to really think through our strategy with their strategy logic flow framework. It was a lot.
A lot of good stuff, though. It's like we're building this toolkit for strategists. We add another crucial tool. We left off talking about Roger Martin's aha moment.
Oh, yeah, that big consulting mistake that led him to what he calls the most important question in strategy. Intriguing.
It is. He realized he needed to ask a different question.
Not, is this the right strategy?
But what would have to be true for this strategy to be successful? It's simple but powerful.
It shifts the focus from opinions to evidence, from just gut feelings to things you can test.
Exactly. And we can use this question at every level of that strategic choice cascade we talked about.
Right. The first one was, what is your winning aspiration? So instead of just saying what I want to achieve,
you dig deeper. What needs to be in place for you to actually reach that aspiration?
So let's say I want to be the market leader in my industry. Can't just wish for it, right?
Nope. What would your market share need to be? Brand awareness, customer loyalty, product innovation. Asking what would have to be true makes you get specific. Identify those make-or-break factors.
It's like exposing all those hidden assumptions we make without even realizing it.
It helps you get to the heart of what matters. And this applies to the next question in the cascade, too. Remember, where will you play?
Choosing our battles wisely. Focusing where we have the best chance of success. How does this question help us there?
Imagine you're thinking about entering a new market. What would have to be true for that market to be profitable? Sustainable.
Okay, so thinking about the market size, the growth potential, how tough the competition is.
The rules and regulations, even your own capabilities and resources.
So if I'm a small company going up against established giants, I need to be realistic.
Do I have what it takes to compete? Resources, brand recognition, something truly unique to offer.
This question makes you face those potential roadblocks head on.
You can adapt your strategy or maybe decide it's not the right fight.
This is making me question everything. It's not about going with my gut anymore.
It's about being honest, asking tough questions, using data and evidence.
And this applies to the how to win choice too, right? Whether we're going for low cost or differentiation. Right, we talked about choosing the right weapon for the fight, aligning it with our overall strategy. So how does Roger's question help us refine our how to win choice?
Let's say you're going for differentiation. Ask yourself, what would have to be true for this to really set you apart from the competition? What makes your product or service special? Is it valuable to your customers? Can your competitors easily copy it?
So if I'm all about a great customer experience, I need to be sure that experience is exceptional.
And hard to copy. It's about going beyond vague ideas and being specific about what you offer and why it matters.
And for a low-cost strategy.
Same thing. It's not just about being cheap, remember. It's about having that structural cost advantage.
So we ask, what would have to be true for us to be the low-cost leader in this market?
Can you scale up your operations? Streamline things? Find cheaper ways to get materials than your competitors?
It's about all those things that make a low-cost position sustainable.
Exactly. And here's the thing. This question isn't a one-time thing. You keep asking it throughout your whole strategy journey.
It's like our strategic mantra, what would have to be true? Always got to keep it in mind.
It helps you challenge your assumptions, spot those blind spots, and make better choices overall. And speaking of choices, let's talk about building a strategic culture within your organization.
It's about getting everyone on board, not just the leaders at the top.
Exactly. We need everyone thinking strategically. We can learn a lot from P&G here. Remember how they changed their strategy review process?
Yeah, they went from those formal presentations to a more open back-and-forth dialogue.
It created a more honest environment.
People could challenge ideas, explore different perspectives.
It was a shift from fear to curiosity.
And that's crucial for a good strategy, right?
It is. You need that environment where people can ask tough questions, challenge the status quo, even admit when they're wrong without fear.
It's about psychological safety. Knowing you won't be punished for speaking up or making a mistake.
Exactly. P&G went even further. They invested heavily in training. They wanted to help their employees develop those strategic thinking skills.
So workshops, seminars, mentoring programs.
They even had a strategy university. They understood their people were their most valuable asset. Investing in them was key to long-term success.
The more strategic thinkers you have, the better you can adapt to change, seize opportunities, overcome those challenges.
Imagine a whole team of chess players, each one thinking a few steps ahead.
That's a powerful image. But it's not just about formal training, right? It's about giving people the chance to use those strategic thinking skills in their daily work.
Give them ownership, encourage them to think critically, come up with innovative solutions.
A culture of empowerment and accountability.
That's it. And remember, this is an ongoing effort. Building a strategic culture takes time.
It's like a garden. You have to nurture it, tend to it constantly, but the results are worth it.
A strong strategic culture is a real advantage. You can anticipate and respond to change better, make smarter decisions, and ultimately achieve more.
Okay, I'm convinced. Let's shift gears back to those two main ways to win: low cost and differentiation.
You're right. We could spend hours talking about each one. Let's start with low cost. A lot of people misunderstand it. They think it's just about the lowest prices.
We talked about how it's really about having that built-in cost advantage. It gives you options. But how do companies actually get to that low-cost position?
Well, there are a few ways. One is economies of scale.
The more you produce, the lower the cost per unit.
Exactly. Spreading your costs over a bigger volume brings the average cost down.
What else?
Process innovation is another biggie.
Streamlining your operations, cutting out waste, boosting efficiency.
Always looking for better, faster, cheaper ways to do things.
Doesn't have to be about cutting corners. It's about being smart.
And technology is a big part of that, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. Automation, using data to analyze things. Powerful tools.
So it's not just about squeezing your suppliers or cutting benefits. It's a bigger picture.
Thinking holistically about your operations.
That's right. And then there's good old-fashioned cost control.
Keeping a close eye on your spending.
Getting good deals with suppliers, minimizing waste.
It's a whole mindset. Everyone in the company focused on cost and efficiency.
It's got to be in your company DNA.
So low cost is more than just cheap prices.
It's the whole package. Systems, processes, culture, even technology.
All working together to keep costs down.
Right. And remember, low cost doesn't mean you have to have the absolute lowest prices. You have options.
You could be cheaper than the competition or reinvest those savings.
In marketing, product development, better customer service.
It's like a strategic advantage you can use in different ways. That's clever.
It is. Now, on to differentiation. We touched on it before, but it's worth a closer look.
Okay.
What makes a good differentiation strategy?
Lay it on me.
First, remember, it's about offering something unique and valuable, something customers will pay more for.
So not just being different to be different. It's about offering something truly special.
Solves a problem, meets a need, something your competitors can't easily copy. Think Apple again.
Yeah, people love their products. They're willing to pay more for them.
It's the design, the user experience, the brand image. It all adds up to something people want to be a part of.
It's an emotional connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of differentiation, creating that perceived value.
Okay, so how do you actually create that?
Could be top-notch quality, innovative design, incredible customer service.
Or a strong brand, a unique way of selling your product.
It's about finding what makes you stand out, your unique selling proposition.
And unlike low cost, there can be many different ways to differentiate in the same market.
Absolutely. One company might win on design, another on customer service, another on being cutting edge.
So multiple winners.
That's what makes differentiation so interesting. It's not one size fits all.
Find your niche, own it. But how do you make sure it lasts? Competitors are always trying to catch up.
That's where it gets tricky. You need to choose a differentiation factor that's hard to copy.
So a patented technology is harder to copy than great customer service.
Usually, yes. And you can't just sit still. You have to keep innovating, finding new ways to stand out.
It's a race, like that Joy Dish soap story. P&G stayed ahead of the game.
Exactly. Strategic thinking is all about being one step ahead, anticipating changes, spotting opportunities, making the tough choices that lead to victory.
Whether you're winning on low cost or differentiation.
That's the key.
This has been mind-blowing. I'm looking at strategy in a whole new light.
I'm glad to hear it. It's not about guesswork. It's about structure, the right questions, challenging what you think you know.
And speaking of change, playing to win really emphasizes that. Embracing change, building a company that can adapt.
Absolutely. Because the only thing that's certain is that things will change. And in today's world, being able to adapt is everything.
P&G's own story shows us that. They had successes, but also failures.
Like their attempt to enter the coffee market, they couldn't quite compete with Starbucks or Keurig.
Even big companies can stumble if they don't adapt.
That's the lesson. It's not just about reacting to what's happening around you. It's about being willing to challenge yourself, your own strategies.
Even when things seem to be going well.
Even then. It takes humility to admit you might be wrong, and courage to make changes.
Because what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow.
You got it. The best companies are always looking to improve, to evolve.
It's a culture of continuous learning and improvement.
That's the key. And that brings us back to building an adaptable organization, one that can not only come up with winning strategies, but also execute them effectively in a world that's always changing.
So how do you build that kind of organization? What are the ingredients?
Lafley and Martin talk about getting the best people, developing them, keeping them. Your people are your most valuable resource.
It's not just about the strategy on paper. It's about the people who bring it to life.
And it's about the right culture, one that values innovation, collaboration, and accountability.
Where people feel comfortable taking risks, challenging the norm, learning from their mistakes.
That's it. Because in today's world, speed is everything. The companies that adapt the fastest are the ones that win.
This has been an incredible journey. I'm seeing strategy in a whole new light.
That's great to hear. And remember, it's not a one-time thing. It's a process.
Always evaluating, adapting, refining.
Lafley and Martin want us to see our strategies as experiments. Always testing, always learning.
So being flexible, being open to change.
Embracing the unknown, and being open to feedback.
Making sure your strategy still aligns with your goals and what's happening in the market.
It all connects back to that reverse engineering process.
Yeah.
Always asking, what would have to be true for this strategy to work?
Yeah.
Then go get the data, the feedback.
Being proactive, not reactive.
That's the strategist's mindset.
Wow, we've covered so much. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too. But there's one more thing from playing to win that we need to touch on. It's about constantly checking in on your strategy, making sure it's still on track.
Right, it's not something you do once and then forget about. It's got to evolve.
Even the best strategies need to be revisited and revised as things change.
Because the world's not standing still, right?
Lafley and Martin want leaders to think of their strategies as hypotheses.
Like in science. Always testing, always refining. So being open to new information, new ideas.
Being willing to let go of old ways of thinking.
It's about being humble.
And brave enough to change.
This reminds me of that reverse engineering process we talked about, always asking what would have to be true for this strategy to be successful, and then checking if those things are actually happening.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, not waiting for things to go wrong before you make a change.
It all ties together. It's about having a vision, choosing the right battles, building the right skills, having the right culture, and always adapting.
It's a big picture view of strategy.
This has been eye-opening. I'm ready to put all this into practice.
I'm glad to hear it. And remember, it's not just about adapting to external changes. It's also about being willing to challenge yourself, your own ways of thinking, your own strategy.
Even when things seem like they're going great.
Especially then. Because what worked in the past might not work in the future. The best companies are the ones that are always looking for ways to get better, to evolve.
It's about creating a culture of learning and always striving to improve.
And that brings us back to building a company that's adaptable and resilient, one that can not only create great strategies, but also execute them in a world that's constantly changing.
So how do we do that? What are the key ingredients?
Lafley and Martin talk about attracting and keeping the best people, developing their skills. People are a company's greatest asset.
So it's not just about having a great strategy on paper. It's about having the right people to make it happen.
Exactly. And fostering the right culture, too. A culture that values innovation, collaboration, and accountability.
A culture where people feel like they can take risks, challenge the way things are done, and learn from their mistakes.
You got it. Because in today's fast-paced world, speed is everything. The companies that can adapt the fastest are the ones that will come out on top.
This has been such a fantastic journey exploring playing to win. I feel like I've gained so many new insights and tools that I can use in my own work and life.
I'm thrilled to hear that. I hope our listeners feel the same way. We've covered a lot of ground, but if there's one final message I want to leave you with, it's this. Strategy isn't some kind of mysterious art. It's a skill you can learn, practice, and get really good at.
And playing to win gives you the tools to do just that. It's a practical guide full of advice that anyone can use, no matter what industry you're in or what your role is.
Absolutely.
So what are you waiting for? It's time to stop playing not to lose and start playing to win.
That's right. Until next time, keep those strategic wheels turning.
And we're back. It's our final deep dive into playing to win.
I can't believe it's already the last part. Time flies when you're strategizing.
Doesn't it, though? We've explored a lot from Lafley and Martin. That strategic choice cascade, the importance of strategic culture, it's been a wild ride.
It has. But just like a good adventure, it's time to gather all the treasure we found and see what we can do with it.
So let's reflect on everything we've learned. What are some key takeaways that our listeners can walk away with?
For me, the biggest one is this. Strategy is about making choices. It's not about trying to be everything to everyone.
It's about focusing your energy, your resources on what really matters.
Exactly. Saying no, even to good opportunities that don't fit with your big aspiration.
Like Olay, they chose to skip the prestige market and build their strength in that masstige space instead. Remember?
Great example. And brings us to another point. That strategic choice cascade, it's a powerful tool for making those choices.
Each decision builds on the one before it,
leading to a strategy that really hangs together. But, and this is important, these choices aren't made in a bubble.
You got to consider what's going on around you.
The competition, the trends in your industry, what your customers want, what's changing.
That's where the strategy logic flow comes in, right?
Right. It helps us analyze everything in a systematic way, so we're not just going with our gut.
And speaking of gut feelings, let's not forget Roger Martin and his most important question in strategy.
Yes. What would have to be true for this strategy to be successful? A simple question, but it makes you think.
It challenges our assumptions, forces us to look at the evidence.
And you can use it throughout your entire strategic journey.
At every step of the way.
Exactly. And it's not just for the people at the top. Everyone in the company should be asking this question.
Now that brings us to another big takeaway. Building a strategic culture. That's essential for long-term success.
Absolutely. It's about creating an environment where everyone's thinking strategically, not just the CEO.
Where people feel empowered to challenge the way things are done. And where everyone is striving for excellence.
A culture where people are curious, always asking questions, wanting to learn new things, and not afraid to question what they think they know.
And a culture where people own their work, admit mistakes, and use them to learn.
Exactly. It's a process, though. It takes time and attention from the leaders to build that kind of culture.
It's like a garden. You have to keep tending to it. But when it blooms, it's beautiful.
A well-tended strategic garden can be a real advantage. Your organization can adapt faster, make better decisions, and ultimately achieve more.
Speaking of adapting, strategy isn't something you do once and then never touch again, right?
Right. It needs to be dynamic. Things change, you got to adapt.
Lafley and Martin, they tell us to see our strategies as hypotheses.
Like scientists, always testing, always adjusting.
So, being flexible, open to new information.
Being willing to change direction when you need to.
It's about being humble enough to say, maybe I was wrong.
And brave enough to do something different.
It all comes back to that reverse engineering process, constantly asking what would have to be true for this strategy to work and checking if those things are actually happening.
Exactly. Being proactive, not waiting for things to fall apart before you make a move.
It's all connected. Vision, choosing the right battles, having the right skills, building the right culture, constantly adapting. It's a lot to take in.
It's the whole picture of strategy.
This has been incredible. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of strategy now.
I'm so glad to hear that. And remember, it's not just about reacting to what's happening around you. It's about challenging yourself, your own ways of thinking, and yes, even your own strategy.
Even when things seem to be going great, there's always room for improvement.
That's the spirit. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. The companies that thrive are the ones that are always learning, always trying to be better.
They build a culture of continuous learning and improvement.
And that brings us back full circle to building a company that's ready for anything. One that can create winning strategies and put them into action, even in a world that's constantly changing.
It's like we've come full circle. How do we actually build that company?
It starts with people. Lafley and Martin are clear about that. Find the best people, help them grow, and create an environment where they want to stay. Your people, they're the heart of it all.
It's not enough to have a great strategy on paper. You got to have the right people to execute it.
Exactly. And the right culture, too. One that values innovation, collaboration, and taking responsibility.
A culture where it's okay to take risks, to question the way things are done, and to learn from mistakes.
You got it. In the world we live in, speed is key. The companies that can adapt quickly, they're the ones that will win.
Playing to Win has been a fantastic journey. I feel equipped with new insights and tools that I can actually use.
I'm so glad. And for everyone listening, I hope you feel the same. We've learned a lot. But if there's one thing to remember, it's this. Strategy isn't some mysterious thing that only a few people understand. It's a skill. Anyone can learn it, practice it, and get really good at it.
And Playing to Win, this book, it's like a roadmap for that journey. It's practical, it's clear, it's full of advice anyone can use. It doesn't matter what your job is or what industry you're in.
That's what we love about it.
So no more playing it safe. It's time to step up and play to win.
Until next time, everyone, keep thinking strategically.